Yeah! This right here is my 750 horsepower SQ5. And I'll be showing you guys what I'm doing to take it from a 10-second quarter-mile car to a 9-second quarter-mile car. With the amount of space that's found in the SQ5, this definitely makes it the ultimate daily driver. You have space for your car seat, for your groceries, and basically anything else that you could possibly need. Underneath the hood, we have this 3.0 V6 single turbo engine. This engine is an absolute monster and definitely no slouch. And after all the modifications that I've done to this car, I've definitely transformed it into an absolute torque monster. However, after running a 10.1 second quarter mile, I have been chasing that 9-second for quite a while now, as I definitely want to make this a 9-second SUV. Now let's head to my garage, guys, and let me show you what parts I'm going to be throwing on this car to take it from a 10.1 to a 9.9.
Let me get you up to speed on my B9 SQ5. It's a high-performance luxury compact SUV and simply a more potent variant of the standard Audi Q5. Powered by a robust 3.0-liter turbocharged V6 engine, the stock configuration yields an impressive 350 horsepower and 369 foot-pound-feet of torque. Paired up with an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, quattro all-wheel drive, driving experience is spirited and engaging. B9 SQ5 in its stock form can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately just 5 seconds, but for me, well, I wanted a more power, baby.
More power, baby! Yeah!
Starting with a tune, intake, an intercooler, and a turbo inlet, enabling the 0 to 60 time to drop down into the high 3s on E85. And with increased power came a need, well, the need for speed. Moving to the Stage 2 tune, with a downpipe and a high pressure fuel pump upgrade, I achieved a stock turbo world record at 11.6 seconds in the quarter mile. Taking it a step further, I proceeded to install a TT810 turbo, Audi RS6 injectors, and 4-bar map sensors. This resulted in an astonishing 640 wheel horsepower, which my SQ5 put down on the dyno jet. It was an absolute rowdy beast.
643 wheel horsepower.
In October of 2022, I drove down to California and shattered the SQ5 world record with a crazy 10.17 seconds in the quarter mile. An absolute insane experience that left me craving for more. That's a daily driver SUV that can break into the 9. Over the past year, I've improved with an incredible sounding lightweight exhaust from my buddies at Integrated Engineering. Just to listen to this roar. Recently, I also purchased ECU and TCU tuning software from 034 Motorsport, not just to support another company, but also see if I can do something different with my setup for content purposes. I went back to the dyno a few months ago with a good friend of mine, Adam from Van City Audi. Go check him out, where we re-dynoed the SQ5. The new modifications and some awesome colder temperatures, she put down an insane 670 wheel horsepower and 640 wheel torque. To the tire, I'm armed with a little bit more power, and my goal is to meticulously fine-tune everything before heading back to the drag strip at the end of this year and aim for that elusive 9-second quarter mile. I'll be taking you one step at a time, showing you not just the parts I have on the table, but also the installation itself.
Right here, we have all the parts laid out, which I believe will help me get into a 9-second quarter mile with my SQ5. Starting with this carbon fiber seat from Ultra Carbon. Thank you so much for getting this seat done for me on time, ready for the races. So this is a carbon fiber seat from my buddy Greg at Ultra Carbon. Greg, thank you so much again. You know my love of carbon fiber has always superseded everything, so I'm really excited that I'm gonna get to swap the Kirky seat for this beautiful carbon fiber seat. And do you wanna weigh it?
Yeah.
And what are we looking at? 5 pounds, 6 ounces. That is insanely light. Can you tell us more about how you started making these carbon fiber seats?
Well, I basically wanted to create a seat that was lighter than a Kirky and a little more comfortable and didn't need to run the Kirky seat pad, because the Kirky seat pads are 2.5 pounds by themselves, just the pad alone. So
Right.
Figured if we can make something out of carbon fiber that mounts just like a Kirky. So in other words, we've designed these strong enough so that you can actually install them just like you'd install a Kirky seat, 4 bolts in the base. I want you to be safe, so when you buy one of our seats, you get it with a full lifetime warranty, at least until you stop fitting it.
I hope that's not the case for me, at least. With this carbon fiber seat, it being 5.5 pounds, I mean, that's lighter than a Tillet seat. That's like $3,000 or $4,000, right? So you're providing something that's actually really affordable for a carbon fiber seat. Looking at the seat itself, like, first of all, not only did you actually do a good job laying up the carbon fiber, not laying down, guys. When he lays the carbon fiber, it's called a layup. So
Laying up the carbon fiber.
the layup on the carbon fiber is beautiful. Every single strand is perfect. So props to Greg and his masterclass skills on that. I also noticed there's a really nice finish to it. Is that a gel coat or what is that?
Yeah, it's a gel coat finish. It's essentially a UV resistant gel coat finish. It can be buffed and polished, it can be wet sanded, it can be waxed, but it also doesn't need to be.
From all the seats that you've made, you said you've made over 400. What has been the fastest one?
You mean how fast has
it
it been?
How fast has it been in the quarter mile? Right.
I did make a seat one time for a customer with a pro model. He races 8th mile only, not quarter mile. 351, whatever it ran, 220, 230 miles. Or
What?
something like
In the
that.
8th
In
mile?
Yeah, in the 8th
What?
mile.
So you make some pretty fast seats, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, they're definitely not going to hold you back from doing fast.
Okay, this should help with the SQ5 get some more weight reduction, which is literally exactly what I need, saving me another almost 20 pounds in weight. So again, Greg, really appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me come here, get the seat and pick it up in person. I am super happy I bought this. The seat itself is not only beautiful, not only does it look really good, it also weighs 4 pounds. This is a very rudimentary bracket. However, I'll be able to at least know what I need to do and what height I need to make the new bracket once I do make a new one out of aluminum or carbon fiber. The next thing on the table are these 034 coil packs. The awesome thing about these 034 coil packs is the built-in heat sink solution. It provides great heat dissipation actually. Because of that, I'm super excited to get these installed on the car. Thanks to 034 for providing those. The next thing that we have is this lightweight battery from Jegs. This one weighs, I believe, 12 or 13 pounds, and we'll weigh it later on, but compared to the stock battery, which weighs 50 or 55 pounds, it's gonna be a huge weight reduction for us. It's gonna provide us with enough cranking power for the car to start and also run, and we're not gonna run it on anywhere else probably besides the quarter mile, so I'm not gonna be worried about running it for the day, as I won't be daily driving it. The next thing on the table are these Hawk Performance brakes. My stock ones just could not hold the torque at all. I consistently had issues with breaking through them, especially when launching the car. And the cool thing about that is I will be actually able to walk you guys through how to replace your brakes on your B9. So those brake pads are definitely gonna help us stop faster as well, which is another great thing about them. Now we get to this monstrosity right here. Now you might be interested, what the heck is this right here? Well, it is a headlight that I made. I previously teased it on my Instagram, a headlight intake. And I'm not sure if it's gonna do anything at all. I think it's a pretty cool piece, and it's gonna be a pretty awesome thing to have literally a velocity stack to ram air straight into the turbo. This is obviously the passenger side headlight that I gutted, and I'll show you guys exactly how I made this thing. I also have a couple of these 3.5-inch couplers here with some T-clamps that we're gonna be using, and also some intercooler piping that's also 3.5-inch, and that should just mount straight from the velocity stack that's sitting right here, straight into the turbo inlet. I took my inspiration from some of the RS3 guys and also some of the Super guys. They have a couple of cool headlight intake options. Let's get to installing all these parts and getting all that weight out of the car. We got the SQ5 in the driveway all ready to go, so I think the first thing that we're gonna start with is putting the drag radials on.
The carbon fiber seats mounting system is simple but effective, at least for the time being. I do plan on designing something lighter in the future. Using the old Kirky seat hardware, I marked the holes required for the mounting bracket, which I adjusted to provide a slight recline for added comfort, since the seat would be my permanent seating position while I was drag racing. While drilling the holes in the carbon fiber, I had a buddy vacuum all the dust up, as carbon fiber dust is something you definitely don't want to breathe into your lungs. After cutting the unistrut Z-brackets to a desired length, I began assembling the bracket mount in the car using some 3/8 hardware I had laying around. This was a trial and error process. I had to make sure everything was square before tightening it all down. Just to double check the alignment, I made sure to install the seat in the car first. Now that I knew everything fit perfectly, I disassembled everything to apply a coat of black spray paint. This not only provided a better look, but I think it also concealed any rough edges. And this is what the final product looks like. I've actually already upgraded my rotors to some 034 lightweight rotors, not just for weight reduction, but also for superior cooling. However, my previous brake pads were definitely not up to the job, keeping up with over 650 wheel horsepower. This is exactly why I'm upgrading to these Hawks HPS 5.0s. They're gonna provide more braking power, less brake dust, as well as be able to hold all that torque when I'm brake boosting instead of slipping through. Due to a lack of time when filming, I had to install these at a later date, but it gives me a chance to show off my Ford Star 22s. Removing the calipers is very simple. Once I had my rims off, all I needed to do was unbolt the two main bolts holding the caliper in place. There's one more bracket held by two M10 triple squares that need to be removed to make sure the caliper would have enough playroom when I took it off the rotor.
Man, I'm definitely excited to replace these. Had a lot of issues with these. Really sick and tired of these dumb Porterfields that I should have probably never bought. Man, these Hawks look really nice. Before you take anything off, you have to plug your OBD11 in or VCDS and make this motor retract. The S4, S5, and SQ5 have an electronic parking brake, and this brake right now is locked and you have to retract it. So unfortunately, it's not as easy as doing the front brakes. However, I also need to take off my dust shield here that I forgot when I installed my 034 rotor. So to take off the rotors, it's really simple. Just this one T30 is what's holding this rotor in place to make it look a little bit better. Almost everything crossed off the list. We also have to install these 034 coil packs. We need to replace my OEM ones that are really old already and are probably on their way out. I think they're gonna be an awesome addition and look really, really good and complete the engine bay with an OEM plus look. So let's get to installing them. Thinking about doing this for quite a long time, and I'm really happy that I got it done. I know it's not perfect. I will be handing it over to a professional body shop tech that will be probably making it absolutely perfect, meaning resand, reglaze, and then, but for the sake of content and getting it on right now, test fitting it, the turbo should spool a lot, maybe not faster, but it will be a lot louder, which is still a benefit and a bonus point if it looks good.
I do want to show you guys exactly how I made this headlight intake. I started by gutting a separate B9Q5 headlight that I bought from eBay. I kind of had no idea how I was going to do it, but I did have a vision. First by cutting up the lens and then removing all the electronics inside the headlight. Once I had my velocity stack positioned exactly where I wanted it, I started to shape the front of the headlight with duct tape, which was very flimsy, so I ended up using some foam as a sort of a backing to hold the tape in place once the foam dried. Now that the general idea was finished, the tape obviously wasn't perfectly smooth, and I wanted to make sure that air would come in as smoothly as possible. One of my buddies recommended that we shape it out of Bondo. This wasn't a smooth process, as we both have never done any Bondo work before. It simply came down to shaping it the best that we could and then sanding down the rough spots. After a few hours of work, some Bondo, glazing, and sanding, this is what it looked like. I figured that this was just a mock-up idea, but if I sprayed it with some black spray paint, it would at least look decent, so that's exactly what I did. And this is what it looks like on the car.
Now, if you look inside, you will see this mesh right here. It is a mesh from filter wear that's water resistant, so it won't let any water go through it. And also, we're not gonna worry about any rocks or any road debris flying in through here and ripping through our turbo and through our engine. The only thing that we have left to do is the actual piping. If I can just mock it up, I can at least show something to one of my fabrication guys and they will weld something up for me. But for the time being, and just to test out how well it works, we're gonna do some basic piping here. Stand back. Look how menacing that looks, guys. That is insane. Wow. I am super excited to find out what it sounds like, and more importantly, does it really help my performance? I'm not sure, but we will find out. Have a turn signal, but that is not important. All you can hear is just straight turbo. That's it. Like. Those are insane turbo noises right there.
You're a madman.
I need a launch, at least one launch in, that's for sure.
God!
Well, unfortunately, it's not happy about the lightweight battery.
No.
Hey, we're gonna have to take it out, yeah.
At first, I thought it was the lightweight battery causing a voltage issue, but it turned out to be the headlight intake paired up with a tuning related issue. The boost pre-control in the ECU wouldn't let me build more than 15 PSI when the turbo should be making over 32 pounds of boost on E70. Unfortunately, as cool as the headlight intake sounds and looks, it's a little useless without actual custom tuning or tuning adjusted for it. I can still use it to bring in cold air into the engine bay, but that might cause more drag and it can be piped into the turbo, at least for the meantime. Maybe this is something I'll work out in the future at least.
Until then, you guys.